If you enjoy these types of stories, like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what story you want to hear next. You, a humble herder, a decent horseman on good days, and a tiny cog in the great rolling thunder of Genghis Khan's unstoppable horde. Don't panic. The Khan has no idea you exist personally, lucky for your head. But tonight, you belong to his dream of empire. Don't worry about tomorrow's battles. Tonight, your only mission is to drift to sleep as your mind gallops across the greatest grasslands Earth has ever known. The sun crawls above a vast ocean of green, painting the horizon gold. You stretch inside your felt ger, a circular yurt that smells faintly of wool, campfire smoke, and your uncle's questionable foot hygiene. You roll out from under a sheepskin blanket to greet your best friend, your sturdy Mongolian pony, standing patiently outside, flicking its tail at buzzing flies. Your camp is a scattered cluster of white yurts and grazing livestock. Cousins shout, dogs bark at goats who stubbornly refuse to be herded, all part of your dawn chorus. Life on the steppe is harsh but honest. No walls, no crowded streets, just wind in your hair and endless space for your thoughts to roam as wildly as your horse. First task, milk the mares. Mare's milk is life, fermented into airag. It'll knock you flat if you drink too fast. Elders swear it cures sadness, sore joints, and occasionally your sense of balance. Then you check the herd. Shaggy sheep, long-haired goats, a few yaks, and those prized horses. Mongols love horses more than breakfast, and that's saying something, since breakfast is mostly dried curds tougher than your grandmother's toenails. Once your animals are sorted, it's time for practice. You and other boys gather for archery drills, shooting while galloping at full speed. Legends say the Mongol bow can pierce armor at 350 meters. Your aim? Well, if you hit a rabbit at 20 paces, you brag about it for weeks. Nobody needs to know you aimed for a tree. Your Khan is no ordinary chief. Genghis Khan, once called Temujin, united squabbling clans who couldn't agree on anything except stealing each other's horses. By 1206, he forged them into a single force so terrifying that entire cities surrendered just hearing hoofbeats in the distance. Whispers drift through camp. The Jin dynasty fell to your father's generation. The Khwarezmian Empire, with its thick city walls, markets glittering with silk and spices, gone like a mirage in the desert. Some say Europe trembles next. You just nod and pretend you care about Europe. Secretly, you can't find it on a map the size of a saddle blanket. You practice because one day soon, the Khan scouts might tap your shoulder. Time to ride west, east, or wherever loot and glory grow like grass after spring rain. Until then, herds, milk, bow practice, and gossip about who stole whose best sheep. By dusk, the camp glows orange with dung-fueled fires. Yes, dried animal dung. Stop judging. Trees are rare, but livestock, plenty. You sit with your cousins, passing a bowl of sour mare's milk back and forth. Your best friend brags he once hit 3 wolves with 1 arrow. You cough into your bowl to hide your laugh. Last week he nearly shot his own horse's tail instead of the target. Elders trade bigger stories, how the Khan's generals can summon lightning with a war cry, or how the Khan once rode so fast he outran sunset. Nobody questions these tales, not if they value their ears. Meanwhile, your horse snoozes by your tent flap. You swear it's smarter than your uncle, which isn't saying much. Night deepens over the steppe. Stars blanket the sky, bright enough to make shadows dance on the grass. Wolves howl in the distance, but you know they won't dare come too close. Not with your camp's guards awake and your faithful dogs ready to bark at anything that moves. Wrapped in sheepskin, you drift off. In your dreams, you ride across the world with thousands of horsemen at your back. No fortress too high, no kingdom too far. Under the Khan's banner, you're unstoppable. For now, though, You're warm, your herd is safe, and tomorrow promises more adventure. Or at least more milking, which is basically the same thing if you squint. Sleep well, steppe warrior. The empire rolls on, but tonight you rest like a champion of the grasslands. Hush now. Listen carefully. Do you hear the restless snorts of horses in the dark? The gentle creak of saddle leather? Tonight, you're no humble herder. Tonight, you're a phantom on horseback, riding at your chief's whisper, shadows among shadows. Don't fret. We're not here to conquer a fortress, just to reclaim a few stolen horses from a rival clan. Easy, right? Assuming you don't sneeze and blow your cover. This isn't just mischief. This is the Mongol way. Raids like this sharpen warriors, keep the herds honest, and forge loyalty. Even Genghis himself earned respect by leading bold raids before uniting the tribes. His secret? Striking at night, faster than rumors could spread. Historians say Mongols learned early that controlling horses meant controlling everything: travel, hunting, trade, war. A lost horse could mean death on the plains. So tonight's mission carries weight beyond bragging rights. It's survival stitched with revenge. Creeping closer, you hear your youngest cousin's teeth chattering like a goat chewing reeds. You hiss for silence. He hisses back that if he freezes solid, he expects you to carry him home. Your uncle, a self-proclaimed master raider, promptly trips over a molehill and faceplants into the grass. You clap a hand over your mouth to muffle the laughter, so hard you nearly snort aloud. Stealthy indeed. Finally, you reach the rival camp's outskirts. Dogs bark faintly, but settle when your cousin tosses them scraps of dried mutton. You slip between sleeping yurts, ducking behind piles of firewood. There they are, your missing horses, tethered loosely near a stack of saddles. You approach slowly, whispering the old words your father taught you. Easy, sister. Time to come home. One by one, you and your crew cut the ropes, pat noses, hush snorts. You work fast, fingers numb in the chill. Behind you, someone fumbles and drops a bridle. The soft clink makes your pulse stop, but no shout comes. Luck's on your side. Or maybe the Khan's ghost is grinning down. You swing onto your recovered horse, nod at your crew. With a soft click of tongues, you guide them away. Slowly at first, hooves whispering over the frozen grass. A few paces more, and then freedom. With a tug on the reins, you all break into a gallop. The wind lashes your cheeks, your braid whips your back, and you grin so wide your teeth catch moonlight. The stolen horses pound the earth beside you, their breath pluming into night air. Behind you, muffled shouts rise from the rival camp, too late. They'll wake up to hoofprints and curses on the wind. You, meanwhile, will ride back triumphant, your people's honor and herd restored. By dawn, you and your band slump by the fire, the prized mares safely roped again near your own yurts. Elders nod in approval, mothers grumble about the reckless danger, and your cousins puff up like roosters retelling how brave they were, leaving out the molehill incident naturally. You pull your blanket around your shoulders, the warmth welcome after a night of wild galloping and secret laughter. As your eyelids grow heavy, you drift into dreams of more raids, more freedom, and a sky so big it could swallow 1,000 armies. Rest easy, moonlit raider. The steppe is wide, your horse is swift, and your dreams tonight are yours to conquer. Hush now. Listen carefully. Do you hear the restless snorts of horses in the dark? The gentle creak of saddle leather? Tonight, you're no humble herder. Tonight, you're a phantom on horseback, riding at your chief's whisper, shadows among shadows. Don't fret. We're not here to conquer a fortress, just to reclaim a few stolen horses from a rival clan. Easy, right? Assuming you don't sneeze and blow your cover. This isn't just mischief. This is the Mongol way. Raids like this sharpen warriors, keep the herds honest, and forge loyalty. Even Genghis himself earned respect by leading bold raids before uniting the tribes. His secret, striking at night, faster than rumors could spread. Historians say Mongols learned early that controlling horses meant controlling everything. Travel, hunting, trade, war. A lost horse could mean death on the plains. So tonight's mission carries weight beyond bragging rights. It's survival stitched with revenge. Creeping closer, you hear your youngest cousin's teeth chattering like a goat chewing reeds. You hiss for silence. He hisses back that if he freezes solid, he expects you to carry him home. Your uncle, a self-proclaimed master raider, promptly trips over a molehill and faceplants into the grass. You clap a hand over your mouth to muffle the laughter, so hard you nearly snort aloud. Stealthy indeed. Finally, you reach the rival camp's outskirts. Dogs bark faintly but settle when your cousin tosses them scraps of dried mutton. You slip between sleeping yurts, ducking behind piles of firewood. There they are, your missing horses, tethered loosely near a stack of saddles. You approach slowly, whispering the old words your father taught you. Easy, sister. Time to come home. One by one, you and your crew cut the ropes, pat noses, hush snorts. You work fast, fingers numb in the chill. Behind you, someone fumbles and drops a bridle. The soft clink makes your pulse stop, but no shout comes. Luck's on your side. Or maybe the Khan's ghost is grinning down. You swing onto your recovered horse, nod at your crew. With a soft click of tongues, you guide them away, slowly at first, hooves whispering over the frozen grass. A few paces more, and then freedom. With a tug on the reins, you all break into a gallop. The wind lashes your cheeks, your braid whips your back, and you grin so wide your teeth catch moonlight. The stolen horses pound the earth beside you, their breath pluming into night air. Behind you, muffled shouts rise from the rival camp. Too late. They'll wake up to hoofprints and curses on the wind. You, meanwhile, will ride back triumphant, your people's honor and herd restored. By dawn, you and your band slump by the fire, the prized mares safely roped again near your own yurts. Elders nod in approval, mothers grumble about the reckless danger, and your cousins puff up like roosters, retelling how brave they were, leaving out the molehill incident, naturally. You pull your blanket around your shoulders, the warmth welcome after a night of wild galloping and secret laughter. As your eyelids grow heavy, you drift into dreams of more raids, more freedom, and a sky so big it could swallow 1,000 armies. Rest easy, moonlit raider. The steppe is wide, your horse is swift, and your dreams tonight are yours to conquer. Tonight, you dream not as a common herder, but as a chosen scout, hand-picked to ride at the side of the Khan's best hunters. You may not know how to read, but tonight you'll read the snow for wolf tracks, listen for the wind's secrets, and pray you don't embarrass yourself by falling off your horse in front of Genghis Khan's top men. So hush, listen to the snow crunch beneath hooves. The hunt is on, and you, lucky dreamer, are riding in history's fiercest wolf pack. The sky is a hard grey dome when you open your eyes. You're camped with the Khan's personal guard, the Keshik, a band of warriors so loyal they'd guard him awake or asleep. You, a humble tribesman with a decent aim and a nose for tracks, got invited to join this royal hunt because, well, your cousin bribed the right stable boy. Or maybe the Khan likes to see fresh fools sweat. The royal camp is more organized than any village you've seen. Yurts lined up in neat rows, a great felt tent for the Khan himself, banners snapping in the icy wind. Smoke drifts from dung fires, mixing with the snorts and whinnies of hundreds of horses ready for a chase. Servants rush about tightening saddles, brushing mounts till they gleam like polished chestnuts. You spot the Khan's favorite steed, a grey stallion, rumored to bite any hand but the Khan's own. You wisely keep your distance. Before the sun peaks above the flat horizon, You and the other hunters gather around a large fire. An old shaman, wrapped in wolf pelts, mutters prayers to the spirits of the grass and the sky. He throws dried juniper on the flames. The smoke curls into your nostrils, smelling sharp and holy. He chants blessings so that arrows fly true, horses run sure, and wolves don't outwit you again. Elders say the Khan himself honors these rituals, not out of fear, but respect for the spirits his ancestors rode alongside long before thrones and cities. You sneak a sip of hot butter tea from a generous noble's flask. It tastes like salty heaven after a night on frozen ground. You mutter your own quick prayer. Spirits, please don't let me embarrass myself today, or at least not too badly. At dawn's first glow, a horn sounds, low and clear as the steppe itself. Riders line up, nobles in fox fur coats, tough guards, young hotheads itching to show off. Somewhere ahead, the Khan himself watches from horseback, a silhouette against the sunrise. You try not to stare. He's not larger than life. Just a man on a horse, clad in plain felt and fur. Yet, even from here, you feel the gravity around him, like the earth itself leans a little closer to hear what he'll say next. A scout gallops up, breath steaming, fresh wolf tracks by the western ridge. The pack has been preying on herds, stealing lambs, frightening children. The Khan's decree: let them fear us more than we fear them. You tighten your reins, your pony tosses its head, sensing the excitement. A tap of your heel, and you're moving with the column, 50 riders spreading out like a fan, slipping through the sea of grass dusted with last night's snow. To outsiders, a royal hunt might sound like a fancy picnic on horseback. But to Mongols, this is battle practice disguised as sport. From boyhood, every Mongol learns to ride, shoot, and command a horse at a dead run. Hunts like this sharpen those skills. Wolves are cunning, fast, and will double back on a trail to throw off trackers. To catch them, you must read wind, snow, shadow, the same senses that help you crush an enemy's army. It's said Genghis Khan once organized hunts so massive they formed a human wall miles wide, driving game before them like water before a dam. Deer, boar, even tigers were trapped and taken. Miss your mark, fail your squad, and you'd answer not just to the wolves, but to the Khan's justice. No pressure, right? Hours pass. You and your squad pick your way through dry creek beds and wind-scoured dunes. Every so often, someone shouts they see a wolf. It's a rabbit, or a half-buried rock, or, once, a sleeping guard from last night's watch who had too much air-ag and wandered off. Your cousin brags he can track a wolf blindfolded. Moments later, he falls off his saddle when his horse stops to scratch an itch. The laughter nearly spooks the whole column. You promise not to mention this if he never mentions you crying when you saw your first snow leopard. Fair trade. Suddenly, a hawk's cry rings out. The lead scout signals a fresh trail. Tufts of grey fur snagged on thorn bushes. Paw prints the size of your open palm. This pack is big and hungry. You swallow hard and check your bowstring for the 100th time. The signal goes up, a high whistle, then a gallop. Riders fan out to encircle the ridge. You lean low over your pony's neck, feeling every muscle bunch and spring beneath you. The wind stings your eyes. Your braid slaps your shoulder. Ahead, dark shapes dart through the scrub. Wolves! Your squad whoops, loosing arrows as they close in. You pick your mark, a rangy grey alpha bounding ahead. You nock an arrow, exhale, feel the world narrow to the pounding of hooves and the beat of your heart. Thunk. Your arrow flies. It grazes the wolf's flank. Not a killing shot, but enough to slow it. A noble next to you finishes the job with a clean strike. The pack scatters, chased down by whooping riders, until the last shadows melt into the grass. By sunset, the hunt is done. 2 wolves tied behind your saddle. You stroke your horse's neck, whispering thanks. He carried you through, swift as the Khan's justice. Back at camp, the hunters return in dusty triumph. The Khan's men hang pelts on racks, elders inspect the kills, and the cooks prepare a victory feast. Roasted meat, fresh dumplings, and, of course, more era than sense dictates. Warriors retell the chase a dozen times. Who missed? Who hit? Who nearly lost an ear to a snapping wolf jaw? Your cousin loudly proclaims he caught 3 wolves single-handedly, conveniently forgetting you pulled him out of a thorn bush by his ankle. Someone passes you a bowl of steaming broth. Fatigue wraps around your shoulders like a blanket. The world grows soft around the edges as the stars prick the evening sky awake. As laughter and music drift through the camp, you find your spot by your pony, now snoozing peacefully on a patch of warm grass. You stretch out on your saddle blanket, bow close at hand. Somewhere, you hear an elder say, "He hunts well. Maybe one day he'll ride beside the Khan for more than wolves." Your eyes grow heavy. You breathe in the cold, crisp night, the sense of smoke, horse sweat, and the distant howl of wolves that escaped tonight's arrows, wiser and faster for next time. Sleep well, Royal Hunter. Tomorrow, the steppe stretches endlessly once more, and you, loyal and brave, are ready to ride wherever the Khan commands. Shh. Settle into your bedroll, or your pillow, here and now. Tonight, you dream of walls taller than trees and gates so thick they laugh at battering rams. You are no simple herder tonight. You stand among the Khan's chosen soldiers, the unstoppable storm at the walls of a mighty Chinese fortress. Steel yourself. In a few hours, dawn will paint the battlements crimson. But for now, we keep our voice soft. Let the siege drums whisper you to sleep. The fortress looms ahead, a crouching stone beast under a moon brushed thin by winter clouds. Its watchtowers flicker with lanterns. Shadowy figures pace the ramparts, spears bristling against the night. Your camp stretches behind you in ordered lines of felt tents and stacked firewood. Siege towers, monstrous wooden skeletons on wheels, wait just beyond the torchlight, draped in hides to stop burning arrows. Mongol scouts drift in and out, reporting enemy movements, counting guards by lantern light. A few men tend to trebuchets, massive catapults capable of flinging rocks, rotting carcasses, or the occasional flaming surprise straight over the wall. Between the siege engines and the tents, your people rest in tidy rows, burrowed in blankets, armor close at hand. You sit by a crackling dung fire, sharpening your short saber, mind drifting between the threat ahead and the gentle snoring of your horse tethered behind you. This fortress, maybe Zhongdu, maybe Xiangyang, maybe another stubborn dot on the Khan's unstoppable map, is one of dozens your people have cracked open like overripe melons. Historians say the Mongols learned siege warfare from the Chinese themselves, then perfected it by borrowing Persian engineers, Arab siegecraft, and raw steppe cunning. No wall too high, no gate too thick. Your generals know how to wait, starve, batter, or bribe. Entire cities surrendered at rumors alone. Those that resisted learned the hard way that grassland archers were equally deadly behind siege shields. Tonight, you're part of that living machine. Not by choice, no one asked. But the Khan promised plunder, freedom, and honor to those who follow. And besides, you're curious what's inside those storerooms once the gates fall. A comrade plops down next to you with a dented iron bowl. Inside, rice stolen from a farm yesterday boiled with scraps of goat. He offers you a bite. It tastes like victory and slightly burnt goat hair. Nearby, 2 older warriors argue about tomorrow's plan. We launch ladders at dawn, simple. No, we dig under the walls, collapse them like rabbit burrows. Ha! Last time you dug, you found your own boots and got lost for 3 days. You smother a laugh and rub your sore legs. The march here wore the hide off your heels. Your horse nibbles your braid affectionately. At least, someone still loves you. A boy no older than 16 brags he'll climb the wall first and bring back the city governor's daughter as a trophy bride. Another fighter promises to hold the ladder steady, then jokes he'll marry her first if the boy falls. Someone tries to sing a rowdy step song about a goat, a stolen saddle, and an unfaithful wife. The camp hushes him quick. Noise carries on cold nights, and watchful enemy eyes miss nothing. A captain hisses at you to stop laughing so loud, unless you want a crossbow bolt between your eyes. You slap a hand over your mouth, eyes watering from stifled giggles. Siege camps are serious business, mostly. Beyond the campfires, a line of men push wheeled towers forward, inch by inch under cover of darkness. They move with ropes and muffled curses. Others haul baskets of stones for catapults, wrapping them in tar-soaked cloth for tomorrow's surprise fireworks. A few unlucky soldiers dig sapping tunnels near the fortress base. You see only their wagging lamp flames down narrow holes, like glowworms burrowing toward history. One emerges black with mud, grinning with 2 teeth missing, and boasts he can hear the defenders pacing above him. You toss him a hunk of stale bread as reward. The Chinese defenders have seen Mongol cruelty and cunning firsthand. At Zhongdu, the Khan surrounded the city with earth walls of his own, turning the fortress into a prison. At Xiangyang, your people built siege ships on rivers to cut off all supplies, proving that horsemen could command rivers as well as plains. Defenders sometimes flung gold and silk over the walls, begging for mercy. Sometimes even that didn't save them. Such tales swirl around you like the campfire smoke, ghost stories of power and punishment that make tomorrow's battle feel both inevitable and terrifying. Your shift comes at midnight. You trudge to the palisade, spear in hand, scanning the dark for enemy spies. The moon peeks behind drifting clouds. Somewhere, a fox screams. You nearly drop your spear on your foot. You hum a soft step tune to calm your racing heart. Your horse dozes a few steps away, dreaming of endless grass and no walls at all. You envy him. In the distance, the fortress is a silent mountain of stone and shadow. You imagine defenders huddled behind battlements, listening to the same wind. Maybe they wonder what it's like to sleep under the open sky, to trust a horse more than any wall. Your watch ends just as the stars wheel overhead. You pass your spear to the next bleary-eyed sentry and shuffle back to your bedroll. Tomorrow, the ladders will rattle against stone. Arrows will hiss and hammer. But for now, your mind drifts away from siege towers and fortress gates, back to the gentle grasslands, to the taste of fresh milk, to the freedom that built this thundercloud of an army in the first place. Sleep well, siege keeper. May your arrows fly true and your dreams stay gentle, far from fortress walls and war drums. Tomorrow, you storm stone and iron, but tonight, you rest beneath the same stars your ancestors chased across the steppe. Close your eyes and listen. Bells tinkle softly in the dusk. Camels snort and shuffle on tired feet. Lanterns swing from wooden poles, flickering gold on silk rolls and clay jars stuffed with secrets. Tonight you dream not as a warrior, but as a trader's apprentice, trusted to watch over a fortune in silk and spices as your caravan crawls across the Great Silk Road under Genghis Khan's iron peace. Don't doze too soon. The road has ears, and even a dozing guard can lose his master's cargo to desert thieves with soft feet and sharp knives. The sun dips behind a ragged spine of distant mountains, leaving the caravan trail bathed in rose and shadow. Behind you lie weeks of rutted roads and salt-scarred deserts. Ahead, more dust, more deals, and maybe a fat profit if you don't drop a jar of saffron on your foot tonight. The caravan has halted near a tiny oasis, little more than a muddy well, a few hardy reeds, and enough flat sand to pitch canvas tents. Merchants from Samarkand, Bukhara, and even distant Baghdad haggle in hushed voices by the fires. Their guards oil crossbows, eyes flicking to the dunes that might hide bandits. or bored local soldiers hoping for a bribe. Nearby, a line of camels kneels in patient misery. They groan like old men and smell worse than your uncle's boots after a 3-day hunt. You pat the grumpiest one on its shaggy hump. It glares at you, then belches. Charming travel companion. Your master, a sharp-eyed trader who counts copper faster than you count your own fingers, hands you a small clay bowl. Inside, rice mixed with dried apricots, sprinkled with cinnamon that costs more than your entire pony back home. You savor each bite by the fire. Around you drift hints of more exotic cargo, sandalwood from India, pungent pepper from the Malay Isles, and bales of raw silk shimmering in moonlight, like the hide of a mythical steppe dragon. An old Uzbek merchant unwraps a scrap of Chinese porcelain, so thin you can almost see through it. He cackles when you nearly drop it, warning, "Break that, boy, and I'll sell you to a salt mine to pay it off." Long before Genghis Khan, traders plied these same dusty veins. But where once bandits and petty warlords squeezed caravans for coins, now the Pax Mongolica, the Khan's peace, stretches like an iron blanket. Toll stations keep records, patrols keep order, and clever merchants whisper that the Khan's trade inspectors can smell hidden taxes buried in camel saddlebags. Some cities flourish under Mongol rule. Samarkand's market grows fat with foreign tongues. Karakoram brims with Persian scribes, Chinese artisans, and greedy Italian traders scribbling letters home to Venice. Tonight, you guard more than goods. You watch over the fragile promise that a steppe empire can bind the world together, silk thread by silk thread. Past the well, a sharp whistle breaks your lazy daydreaming. One of the scouts swears he spotted glinting steel on the far dunes. Could be moonlight, could be knives. A ripple of tension rolls through the camp. Guards tighten saddle girths. Traders hide their richest wares under piles of stinking camel blankets. Your master mutters, "Stay awake tonight, boy." Bandits love an apprentice who snores. You gulp, nod, and pretend you don't still have rice stuck in your teeth. To ease the nerves, the older caravan hands spin stories. One claims he once traded a single silk robe for 2 Arabian stallions. And the idiot buyer gave me his daughter's hand in marriage too, poor girl. Another brags he outwitted a Persian tax collector by hiding gold coins inside dates. He cracks up, wheezing, when your master reminds him he also accidentally swallowed half the coins to hide them faster. A young guard tries to impress a group by juggling oranges. He drops one straight into the well. Someone jokes the oasis will taste like citrus for a week. The camel next to you grunts as if to say, "Amateurs, the lot of you." Later, under a milky moon, you stand your watch near the camel line. You pace back and forth to keep your eyes open, listening to the wind hissing over sand dunes like a mother whispering secrets to the earth. Every creak of leather or distant camel fart jolts you upright. You picture raiders, thin silhouettes gliding like ghosts, daggers ready to slit your throat for a handful of peppercorns. You clutch your spear tighter, trying to look braver than you feel. Somewhere, your master snores inside a felt tent, stuffed with precious bolts of brocade. If you guard this load well tonight, he's promised you a share of the next big profit. Enough to buy your own horse. Maybe even your own tent back home. If you fail, well, at least you won't have to worry about paying him back. Bandits have a way of solving debts permanently. Hours pass in quiet vigilance. The distant dunes keep their secrets. The camels settle, chewing cud and glaring suspiciously at nothing in particular. No bandit blade glimmers in the moonlight tonight, at least not close enough to test your mettle. Eventually, another watchman taps your shoulder. You hand over your spear, legs aching, eyelids like stone weights. You curl up near your camel, the grumpy one, still burping spices from stolen feed. You don't mind. His warmth is better than a silk blanket. Your mind drifts as the desert wind sings lullabies only traders know. Tales of secret cities, hidden maps, and endless roads winding on forever. All made safe by the Khan's command and the courage of fools like you. Sleep well, desert merchant. May your next bargain be fat, your camels steady, and your dreams forever free of sand fleas. Tonight, you don't dream of conquest or caravans. You dream of survival. Out here, on the endless steppe, the fiercest enemy isn't an army or a scheming noble. It's the wind, the snow, the sudden storm that laughs at even the Khan's iron will. So gather close inside your snug yurt. Listen to the old stories and the wind's sharp cry outside, and let your eyelids grow heavy while the storm claws at the felt walls. In the steppe, to sleep safe and warm is the greatest victory of all. It started as a clear dawn, brittle cold but bright, your pony's breath steaming while you check the herd for stragglers. You whistled at the goats to bunch up, yelled at the stubborn yak that always wanders off, and slapped your palms for warmth, while your little brother pretended his mittened hands were wolf paws. By midday, the wind sharpened. A low growl on the horizon, darker than a promise broken. The older herders muttered, "Get them inside, now." You cracked your whip, cajoled and cursed. By the time you and your cousins pushed the last shaggy sheep into a makeshift corral near the winter camp, snow whipped sideways like a million tiny knives. Now, inside your family's yurt, you huddle near the hearth's glow. Outside, the world disappears in white roar and drifting shadow. Only the muffled bleats of your animals remind you there's still life beyond this thin felt wall. Inside, it's an organized chaos of bodies and blankets. Your grandmother ladles steaming broth into battered wooden bowls. It's mostly bone, onion, and hope, but the warmth chases the chill from your bones. Your mother folds spare saddles and fur coats into makeshift pillows. A cousin dozes, curled up like a puppy beside the iron stove, snoring gently while drool dribbles onto your best saddle blanket. Typical. The yurt creaks as wind rattles the roof poles. Occasionally, snow sifts through tiny seams and lands on your brow. Icy kisses from the storm goddess herself. You pull your hat lower, grateful for the crowded warmth. There's an old saying, "A full yurt in winter is a lucky yurt. Tonight, you are rich indeed." For all their conquests, Mongols feared winter storms more than any fortress wall. Steppe families mastered the art of survival. Felt yurts built round so no wind corner can catch and tear them apart. Herds moved between seasonal pastures, fat in summer, hardy in winter. Families stored dried cheese, meat, and fermented mare's milk, trusting stomachs more than the weather spirits. Even Genghis Khan himself postponed campaigns when the snows swallowed roads. His wisdom: control armies with iron, but bow to winter's fury like a humble goat. To pass the storm, your uncle tells tales. How he once wrestled a bear because he mistook it for a drunk neighbor crawling into his yurt. How your great-aunt cooked a whole horse head for the Khan's envoy, then tripped and spilled broth on his royal boots. How he himself survived a storm worse than this by snuggling with a yak for 3 days. Yaks make terrible pillows, but warm as a wife and less complaining. He roars, smacking your back so hard you nearly spill your soup. Your little brother tries to mimic wolf howls, earning a scolding from Grandma. "Hush! Don't invite the real wolves to the door." He sticks out his tongue, which earns him a flick on the forehead. You grin and pull him under your arm, pretending to wrestle him like a baby goat. Later, as wind screams like lonely spirits, someone asks for the ghost tale. The old one. The one only whispered when storms bury the world. Your grandmother leans close, voice barely louder than the stove's hiss. Long ago, when our people were just scattered clans, there was a herder too greedy to share his food. One winter night, he refused shelter to a lost stranger. That stranger was a sky spirit in human skin, Offended, the spirit cursed the greedy man's yurt to forever wander the storm, never warm, never still. Some nights, when the wind is worst, you can hear him knocking, begging for a fire he can never have. You swear the roof poles shudder at that moment. Your cousin squeaks and buries his face in your coat. You pretend you're braver than you feel. In truth, you wish your pony was inside too. His solid warmth would feel better than all these twitchy humans. To break the chill of the ghost story, your uncle farts loudly under his blanket. Everyone groans, someone swats him with a ladle, and your grandmother mutters, "May the storm spirit drag your backside outside if you keep that up." A child whimpers for more soup. Your mother hums an old lullaby about galloping horses and endless grass. The storm roars on, but inside, the yurt hums with little comforts. Old songs, familiar snoring, the hiss and pop of dry dung burning bright. As the fire settles to glowing embers, your eyelids grow heavy. The wind outside wails like wolves without fangs, fierce but far from your dreams now. You nestle deeper in furs and saddle blankets, safe between your mother's soft singing and your father's steady breathing. Somewhere in the dark, your herd huddles tight, steam rising from their backs like offerings to the moon. Sleep well, storm survivor. May the spirits circle your yurt, but never cross your door. When dawn comes, the steppe will gleam white and new, and your people will ride on, unbowed and unbroken, just as they always have. Tonight, sleep finds you not as a herder, not as a scout, but as something far rarer and far more dangerous, a keeper of secrets in the Khan's name. While your tribe sleeps in felt yurts scattered like stars on the grasslands, you slip away under a cloak the colour of shadows. Beyond the horse lines, a lone figure waits by the frozen river, a messenger no one must ever see you greet. The night is cold enough to crack a man's bones, but your heartbeat is hotter than any hearth fire. It begins with a single coded phrase spoken at dusk by your captain. Tonight, the stars must not see your eyes. You understand at once. You bind your horse's hooves with scraps of felt to muffle their clatter. You stash your dagger inside your boot alongside a scrap of silk bearing the Khan's personal mark. Your family's yurt flickers warm behind you. Laughter, soup bubbling, babies fussing. For them, the world turns as it should. But for you, tonight turns on whispers and hidden blades. You ride away from the sleeping encampment. Snow crunches under the hooves despite the wrappings. The river ahead gleams like a dark serpent under the moon, half frozen and suspiciously quiet. You tie off your horse among scrubby bushes and creep closer on foot. Most remember Genghis Khan as a hammer swung at kingdoms, but he was also a weaver. Threads of silk, roads, and secrets binding distant lands to his command. He built networks of yam stations, relay posts where trusted couriers galloped day and night to deliver news faster than an arrow in flight. He paid merchants to spy as they traded. He bribed enemy soldiers to speak secrets by firelight. And when all else failed, he trusted shadows like you, loyal informants who knew how to vanish before dawn and never speak of it again. You reach the riverbank, breath fogging like a ghost. There, a lone figure crouched by a low fire hidden behind boulders. He's older than you expected, beard streaked with frost, eyes flicking left and right, hand never far from the hilt at his belt. He sees you approach and whispers a greeting in a dialect halfway between Turkic and Chinese, old trader's tongue. You reply in the same, voice steady, though your pulse thunders in your ears. He tosses you a small wrapped bundle. Inside, parchment scraps with rough sketches, a city gate, guard rotations, water supply lines. On another scrap, names of nobles rumoured to be ripe for bribes. You keep your face still while your mind races. A bribe here, a poisoned goblet there. A fortress that falls without a single arrow loosed. This is how the Khan wins when blood costs too much. While you memorize the details, the spy warms his hands over the tiny fire. He tells you, in the halting cadence of a man who's lied so often, he forgets his real voice. How he bribed a city cook to slip him these plans. How a careless guard boasted over rice wine. How sometimes he wonders if the Khan dreams of every city already burning, or if he only smiles when the smoke rises for real. You laugh softly at that, a joke best whispered to the snow. He pauses to pick a flea from his coat. Even spies can't outrun vermin, or the stink of too many nights among thieves. He warns you not to trust anyone near the city's north gate. They smile wide, too wide, teeth like wolves, loyalty like drifting sand. The fire crackles low. He tries to lighten the mood by boasting, "One time I hid inside a barrel of pickled cabbage for 3 days. Smelled like death, but no soldier checks a cabbage barrel." You nearly snort laughter through your nose, then slap a mittened hand over your mouth. The idea of this grim old fox stewing in pickle brine feels absurd enough to break the icy fear coiled in your belly. He eyes you, shrugs. Better to smell like rotten cabbage than to lose your head to some city guard with a fancy helmet. You remember that when you sneak inside the gates, eh? You promise you will. Though your mind spins ahead to the city walls, the bribes, the false smiles, and the trap doors you'll leave open for your Khan's thunder to roll in when the time is right. Just then, a faint crack of ice across the river. Both of you freeze, ears straining. Could be a fox, could be an unlucky herder strayed from camp, or could be a city scout following your trail for the bounty on secrets worth more than a noble's ransom. Slowly, your hand drifts to the dagger in your boot. The old spy closes the parchment and tucks it into your fur-lined vest. His whisper slices through the dark. Run, if you must. But if you run, run far and never stop, because they never forgive betrayal. The noise fades. Silence returns. But the taste of danger lingers like the metal tang of blood on your tongue. You snuff out the tiny fire with a bootful of snow. No footprints left behind but yours, and even those you'll brush away with a branch. You clasp the spy's forearm in the old warrior's greeting, a bond stronger than coins, softer than threats. Then you slip back to your horse, untie the felt bindings, and ride slow at first, then faster, heart pounding, eyes scanning every bush and dune for a flicker of torchlight. By the time you glimpse the glow of your family's yurt, the first grey kiss of dawn brushes the horizon. Inside, your kin still sleep warm and oblivious. You slide under the blanket next to your brother's snoring form. The precious scraps of parchment press cool against your chest, hidden inside your coat. Even if someone searched you now, they'd find only a sleepy herder boy, smelling faintly of horse and a spy's cheap cabbage perfume. Your eyes grow heavy. Outside, the wind hums over endless grass. Secrets kept for now. Sleep well, Shadow Walker. When next you ride out, kingdoms will tremble because of the words you carried home tonight. Close your eyes, feel the wind on your cheeks, taste the cold air burning your lungs. Tonight, your dream doesn't smell of siege smoke or spiced caravans. It smells of open grass, sweat, and horsehide. Tonight you are young, lean, and foolishly bold. One of the Khan's chosen riders in a wild race across the steppe. A race so famous that grandfathers still boast they once outpaced an eagle's shadow. Hold tight to the mane, you're about to fly. It begins at dawn, when the sky is just a pale breath above the grass. 1,000 riders gather at the Khan's signal fire. Young braggarts, old champions, everyone craving the Khan's praise and the prize. A horse better than gold, handpicked from the royal herds. Your own steed shifts beneath you, restless. He's nothing fancy, a short-legged steppe pony with a mean kick and a bad habit of nipping your boots when you tighten the saddle. But he's yours, and together you've outrun wolves and sandstorms. Around you, Boys whisper bold bets. Who will fall? Who will cheat? Who will still have teeth by the finish line? An old herder laughs so hard he nearly spills his mare's milk. Don't break your necks, little fools. Your mothers will blame me. The Khan's empire didn't stretch from sea to sea by sword alone. It raced across mountains and deserts on the backs of horses so tough they could graze frozen grass and still carry a rider all day and all night. These races were more than sport. They tested a warrior's skill, a horse's endurance, and the trust between both. Some say the best scouts were picked by these races, trusted to carry secrets faster than any enemy could follow. A horn blasts. Your pony lunges like he's shot from a bowstring. You lean forward, cheek pressed to his scruffy mane, the world a blur of hoofbeats and flying dirt. A rival surges ahead, his braid whipping your face. You whoop like a madman and jab your pony's sides. He answers with a grunt and an extra burst of speed that nearly unseats you. You swear, if you live through this, you'll feed him the best hay for a year. Halfway through, the racers split into packs. Some elbow each other so hard they tumble, rolling in grass and curses. One poor boy loses his saddle altogether. He clings to his horse's neck like a frightened cat until he slides off and lands in a prickly bush. You barely dodge him and cackle so loud you nearly swallow a grasshopper. A burly cousin shouts, "Last one home drinks goat pee for a week." Another yells back, "Better than your cooking, you cow-faced liar." Insults scatter on the wind, as sweet as music on this reckless ride. Between breathless gasps, you glimpse the wide open, rolling hills like the sea, clouds dragged low by the wind, herds of antelope scattering before your thunder. For a moment, you feel it, the freedom that made the Mongols the envy of kings behind walls. No borders, no taxes, no orders except the whip and the open sky. Just you and this stubborn pony, running faster than the past can catch you. You taste blood where you bit your tongue. The finish marker, a lone spear stuck in a cairn of rocks, flickers into view. Beside you, your rival's horse pants like a dying bellows. You whisper promises into your pony's ear. Salt lumps, soft hay, your mother's best song. He flicks an ear back at you as if to say, "You better." You crouch lower, legs numb, heart ready to burst. The ground is a drum, the wind a choir. For this heartbeat, you are more than a herder or a spy. You are the steppe itself. You cross the line, maybe first, maybe not. Does it matter? You are alive. You kept your seat. Your pony stands, quivering but proud. The Khan's envoys nod. Some elder will boast tonight about your run. Your mother will weep when she sees you limping. In the great empire of Genghis Khan, not every glory is forged in blood. Some come in the shape of wind and hooves, and a sky so wide no wall could cage it. Later, curled beside your pony with your coat for a pillow, you drift towards sleep. Your legs ache, your bones hum with leftover thunder. But the wind now is soft, just a lullaby for a champion at rest. Dream well, steppe racer. Tomorrow the Khan may call you to war, to trade, to whisper secrets by firelight. But tonight, you fly free in your dreams, hoofbeats echoing forever over the endless grass.